won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers.
What up? What up? What up? Welcome in here to Pregaming at Sports Money, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Put the bow on the betting card and see if we can't find a way to make these bookies come out of pocket. These bickies. I don't know what that was, but happy Monday to everybody. We got a new week in front of us. We've got major action on the docket this evening, a huge NHL card, a decent NBA slate, okay college basketball, but the big wild card finale here to wrap up the weekend is the feature matchup between the Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the way we're going to finish up the show here this afternoon as well. And then get ready because we will be live, ready to pop the top as we go out there and fire on a suddenly not so casual Monday, as my guy Shark likes to say. Oh, man. Just getting all kinds of news in today. All kinds of news. Some of it relates to this Pittsburgh game. I'm actually writing it down right now. That's how big a news I think that is. Wow. Wow. How about that, you guys? Shame on the Eagles. They got busted up yesterday, as you guys well know. Bills advanced. Big deal out there for the AFC East, as well as the Patriots put the boot to ass on the Chargers. Frustrating to watch, just a bad team in the Chargers. The Chargers have been bad all season. I can't believe they made the postseason. Frankly, I'm a little offended. We don't need... Now, listen, Carolina had a shot, so be it, but we got these bad and these ugly teams, man. Like, and I get it. It's the way the playoffs are orchestrated. But I do want to point out, because there was some joker was laughing, said, oh, he's told us about this how many times? And I guess I should have heeded my own advice, but home dogs in the playoffs, the wild card specifically, home dogs went out there and shoved. They shoved so much, they ran out of stuff to shove. And so they were shoving the popcorn guy down the fucking stairs. They were shoving so much out there. Home dogs over the last 3 years, 6-1 overall, 7-0 versus the spread. Home dogs. Busted them up. Home dog tonight. Sneak peek as to what we're going to get after and fire with here, you guys. But yeah, look, overall quick assessment of the weekend. I mean, I was a little surprised by the Niners, but I wasn't totally blown away, right? In other words, always tease up, don't tease down. I don't know when this fucking, what's the guy's name? The Wong teaser. What's that fucking thing called now? Who even, what happened? What happened? We've been betting teasers for like 4 years. Publicly, anyways. Long time back. But all of a sudden, somebody came out with some infallible rules about how to bet teasers, and now everyone's referencing it? I just missed the memo because we've been betting it so long. It's just the way it is. And you don't bet down, you bet up. So I'm mad at myself for betting down that Eagles game. I couldn't see myself. In hindsight, probably should have bet it up. Niners up. They won outright. 6.5 point. That spread made me nervous. But, I did talk to you guys. I gave you out the official play with the show, the Shark and I did on Friday with the under in that game. So that cashed. Bills money line. That cashed. Some live plays, some first half unders cashed for us. Cash. Green Bay I told you guys the story for me on Saturday. It was epic. I had a 95% cash out at halftime. They were just kicking the piss out of them. I cashed it out and I stuffed it all on both teams to score in the first period of that Vegas game at plus 170. We saw what happened there. 25. Actually, I think it was in the third period because it was the third quarter. Because it was 25-6 in that fourth quarter. Hell of a comeback by the Bears. I was hoping the Panthers would beat the Rams. That did not happen. Puka Nacua continues to fire. And I'm just disappointed in them Chargers, man. That's just the way the football wild card round went for me this week here. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. So we'll see. It's all going to be all the chips on the table, so to speak, for this Monday night extravaganza. And I can't wait to talk to you guys about that. So we've got the NBA to fire on as well. We've got, in fact, you'll see the card here. I got 3 games I handpicked for you guys in the NHL. First one's a parlay in that Lightning and Flyers game. We'll go to the Garden and talk about the Kraken and the Rangers, and we'll bring her home with the Oilers and the Blackhawks. I think some beefy spots for us to get paid out there. Then we'll go to the NBA. I got 4 plays for you in the association this evening. Kind of funny how that works out. Bigger card in the NHL, smaller number of plays. Smaller card in the NBA, larger number of plays. But there's just some spots that we want to fire on because they've been good to us. So we'll talk about the Jazz and the Cavaliers. We'll talk about the 76ers and the Raptors. We'll talk about the Nets and the Mavericks, the Lakers and the Kings. Before we move over to dose spots in college basketball, Southern and Bethune-Cookman, Grambling, and Florida A&M will bring us home with Monday Night Football. And then at 7:45, you know the deal. We go live. We go live to fire up the last game of Wild Card Weekend with my guy, Razor Sharp Picks. Ramon Scott, guests and friends will be joining us as well to see if we can't find a way to cash up. What else? What else did I want to point out? I think, let me look really quick. Because we're originators. You know, you guys know what an originator is, right? Some guys, they see bets and they just, they make them. Some guys, we used to have guys come on shows live that we had to stop it because they would come on shows live and give out the same play that was already given out live, like it was theirs. It was like, nah. We want originators. We want people that can identify opportunities and go and fire. And I'm still, I don't listen to a lot of other shows, but I still haven't heard anybody talk about the fourth quarter overtrend. And Rams Panthers gets there. Packers Bears gets there. Bills Jaguars gets there. 49ers Eagles even gets there. The Patriots and the Chargers did not get there. That was 16-3. Chargers were just too one-dimensional. Now, some of you guys need to get another book. I gave you the strategy for my Omarion Hampton place. I said, this dude's been hurt. High probability he gets hurt again. But his usage metrics, they're there. And so if he isn't hurt and he does play, we have an opportunity to cash some things as high as plus 500s. Played once in the first. You have one reception and one pass. I can't. Let's look. One carry. One carry. And now some people get mad about it. They're mad about this cash out. What are they calling it? The injury insurance or whatever the place, and you get these books that are saying, hey, if they get hurt in the first half, we'll give you your money back. So that was very much part of my strategy because that book that I was using does just that. And if your books aren't doing that, you got to find one that will, because that was just a free roll with very little downside. Should he play? Should he perform? I was in a position to go out there and get it done. So there we go. That's the way I believe you guys should take a look at that thing. And I believe one of our guys here was posting it on Twitter, talking a little bit about it today. So, real shame. I see Nasty Dane here. It's a real shame because this fraudulent Patriots team just gets another bite at the apple, so to speak, And what's more disappointing about it's just a down spot for me with this game because Like when you have these shit teams that play bad schedules, they're supposed to lose. And so, with the exception of like one game, the Patriots played losing teams. Should never have been. And the strength of schedule was so much harder for the Chargers. So that was just a letdown. But they'll lose next week. They'll be playing the Steelers next week, and the Steelers magic will continue. So that's the way I figure that'll go. But and I think the Bills will beat the Broncos because you got the two softest schedules in the NFL, and they're battling head to head. So shout to you, Destiny Nate. I know you'd enjoy that. Let's go. You guys know the deal. Let's get to work. Let's fire off this card. Let's get everybody lined up to get to the window with some winning tickets. And then let's go sit back, enjoy ourselves on the Monday night live stream with the squad. Looking to level up, cash up, get paid before we even get started, though. Give that thumbs up button a hit. Help us grow this community. Man, we are just a couple, literally a couple of smiling faces away from 1900. And then 2000 is right around the corner. So right now, I think we're at 1893. Where's it 1896? Say right now. Where is it? Where is it? Shit. I believe we're at 1896. I think that means, well, let me look. Let me fucking look. It's that important. We'll take a detour. I'm slow going today. I was cocktailing this weekend. I was live with you guys all fucking weekend long. 1891. 9 precious subscribers away from 1900, you guys. Imagine that 2 years ago. Who would have thought? We'd all be assembled here, kicking ass, taking names, looking to keep firing away on these bookies, doing what we do together. And it's because of you guys showing up here on a regular basis and showing support that we are where we are. So if you haven't done so already, give that thumbs up a smash, show some support, help us get to 1,900 subscribers here at Sports Money Network. Okay. Let's see who's checking in with us, and then let's get to it. I'll share my card. I want to see your card. I was telling somebody the other day, I had a pleasant conversation with somebody that reached out to me on Instagram. The Instagram play of the day is out there, by the way, for you guys to consume. Free play. It's got 21 straight win streak going on its back end. And then I'm not saying the free play of the day is 21. The angle is 21 straight. And it's free. All you got to do is go check it out. But this fine feller set up a free SEO optimization for me. Normally, everybody wants to charge for these things. However, I tried to explain to him that sports content is different. It's not evergreen. Some of you guys may or may not know what evergreen is, right? When I teach you how to use the puck line to get a -1, that's evergreen content. That never gets old. It's always good. It's always valid. It's consistent. You click on it today. You click on it tomorrow. You click on it 2 years from now. You click on it 10 years from now. The -1 calculation will still be relevant. That's evergreen. Never gets old. Never ages. My breakdown on Virginia versus Missouri, well, that gets old about the minute the clock strikes midnight and that game is over. So, the fine gentleman, I'd like to say thank you to him for the SEO optimization. But I also told him I wasn't going to do shit because you can't optimize a video from 3 weeks ago with a game that happened 2.5 weeks ago and expect anybody to go back and watch it. That's why it's super important for you guys to jump in here on a daily basis and continue to smash that thumbs up button. Only helps us get bigger as we grow. We're going to continue to generate more opportunities like what I'm working on for you guys with the Winter Olympics. Those are just 3 weeks away, 3.5 weeks away. I believe the NHL roster freeze is February 9th, I think I heard. So I'm excited for that. Can't wait to go down that road with you guys. But let's do what we're here to do tonight. Let's get to the window with these cash opportunities. Lots of games on the card. Got to move briskly. And shout out to Blake M. Says, good evening to all. Let's get some money flowing. There's Redbeard. Says, sup, dude? What's up, Redbeard? I see you chirping me on Twitter. Listen. My team was in the postseason. Robert McCormick says, good evening. Pachico de Gallo. There he is. Damon Waring's checking in as well. Damon Waring says, sports money is money. Let's start this Monday off cash out. Let's do it, my dude. I like that. It says Steelers money line tonight. You heard? Let's go. Nicholas Handy. May 8th is Tupac bobblehead night in Oriole Park. No shit. Is that true? Redbeard says, shout out to Tupac. That's cool. I'd started. If I had a Tupac bobblehead, I'd consider starting a bobblehead collection for the, for the wall art to get a little background going here. I don't know. Damon Waring says Pacers first quarter money line. Mr. Weskers, Panthers so close. He says the Chargers, LOL. Damon likes the Buffalo Sabres first period. And AJ checking in with us as well. Redbeard says first period over. Question mark. Shout out to Markel. What's up, Markel? Jay Peasy from LA to the Bay all day. My dude says jump on the plus money with the Steelers. F it. F it. I think I got a good reason for it. I think I got a good case for it. Peter Gracia says Houston and under teaser. Let's cash. There's Nasty Nate. Redbeard's telling him, stop it. Get some help. Sancho says Texans -3. Let's go, man. Let's get you guys paid up here. Peter Gracia says, can't believe the Eagles caved to a defensively dinged up San Francisco team. And then I see Sancho says A.J. Brown is a clown. I mean, listen, he dropped that pass on 3rd and 11. That was it. He got the opportunity. It was a big opportunity. Got to his hands, and he dropped it. So, the fact they couldn't convert on 4th down doesn't mean shit. What are they going to do? Pull the old rabbit out of their ass? Mr. Wesker says Chargers are just too banged up. Redbeard says they played a dude with a broken hand, bud. Nasty Nate is bud. FB Gotti says no O-line too. Yep. JPC says Herbert sucks. He's got himself a gal though, doesn't he? Shit, somebody's sucking. It ain't Herbert, I don't think. FB Gotti. JPC, dude, gonna need a lot of help. He threw a pass on target. I am Distro. Says it's cool to be wrong, bro. It's okay. Pats Nation, see you next week. Gary Ferenc says Cavs under 250.5. Redbeard says he uses the run line calculator. There you go. I saw I was out a couple weeks ago. I was out at a bar enjoying some adult beverages as I was watching a game. And some joker took the time to tell me -1s aren't real lines. What do you mean they're not real? Dude, I'm betting them all over. First of all, Caesar is ready-made. Just pop in your money and fire off. 2, you can calculate it with it. And I showed it to him. And it's like, it's just too much work. It's too much work. Dude. Sancho says Cavs, Texans, moneyline parlay for Sancho. JPC says SEO, who's searching for sports money on Google? We want to try to get it going, man. At Picks Bets PTS says, yo, my guy, what's up? What's up? Picks Bets PTS. Picks Bets Points. It's up to you, my dude. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us here. Andrew K. Liking Merrill over points. And Picking Bets, giving us a bet. Says, I got Calvin Austin and Adam Thielen over 10.5 receptions each at +200. And Andrew K says Thielen, anytime touchdown, 10-1. He's liking that. Damon Waring says, I don't trust the Florida Panthers to score in the first period at Redbeard. Blake M took Morgan State over 141.5 before the show started. Mr. Weskis is laughing about the -1. Doesn't exist. Yeah, it's like Santa Claus. Sure. Santa Claus doesn't exist. The -1 certainly does. And I don't have any -1s for you guys here tonight. That I don't have, but let's get to work. Let's talk about these plays. Let's keep a brisk pace as we kick off this NHL card. A couple of the old fan favorites. Rematches. Short revenge rematch opportunities out there. But I am going to file this one under, I don't think it matters. The other day I was on the Tampa Bay Lightning -1. They thumped the Flyers. I think it was 7-2 final. Now Vladar, 16-6-4 with a 2.35 goals against average. That boy can play. And there's conversation going around Philadelphia now. Should this guy be the number one goaltender? Because Sammy Ersson does continue to struggle. So, goal support or lack thereof certainly can be the Flyer situation. They are feast or famine in this case here. But they got a player injured. I think it was Zegras. Got injured in practice with the puck in the back of the knee. Banged up a leg. If you guys don't know, the knee pad wraps around, but it still leaves this portion behind your leg uncovered. Very hard to get smacked in the back of the leg there. But huge strength out of this offensive lineup for the Philadelphia Flyers. And I think if you do get your face pushed in the pile of dog shit, you back up the next time. You know what I'm saying? In other words, if we just let explosion of goals take place and we are feast or famine with our own goals, we got to play some defense. And we've got our better of the two goaltenders in goal this time around. So I like the under in this game to kick this thing off, but I'm just not going to get away from Tampa Bay right now. They're just playing hot fucking hockey. And at the end of the day, that's what it takes. I think the Flyers are too stupid to know they should be losing. Much as I do agree with the Sabres are too stupid to know they should be losing. But when I say they're too stupid to know they should be losing, it's because you're going to end up outside of the playoffs when the season's over, but you played too hard to get yourself a meaningful draft pick. Too stupid. Now, in fairness, Flyers, they have been on fire. But Tampa Bay, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight wins. All but one of them by puck line. And that was a Montreal Canadiens spot for a bounce back opportunity for the Montreal Canadiens. So with that being said, I'm not going to get in the way of this Tampa Bay team. I am going to add the caveat to it, though, because it's juicy, and parlay the under 6. And I like the 6 because it was a free play. There's at FanDuel. You can get it at Caesars. You're not going to be able to get it at DraftKings or some of the other books out there because they have moved to the half numbers, almost like Asian lines, right? They have moved to the halves. So I looked at it and said, give me the Tampa, give me the under 6, give me the big cash, give me the plus 210, give me the spot to get it done. Nicholas Handy says, anybody else get hit with the Max Headroom glitch? Did I have a little Maxi? Shout out to my guy, Razor Sharp Picks on Twitch. Let's go. Pick bets. Points, says like the video, everybody. Yeah, I might have some Wi-Fi situation out there. JPC says, I'd say over. I think this is that bounce back spot. So we'll see how it works out. But rather than laying the juice or the -1, I do expect Tampa to get the win again. I think it'll be a little bit more competitive. I do think this has the feeling of like a 3-1 type of game out there. Probably Tampa gets it done on the puck line, but I'll just fire with this parlay because it gives us over 2-1 return on our value. I think one spot's in the bag. Let's take that other spot. Let's get this thing as a lower scoring game. And if you can only get 6.5, fine. I mean, look, you're only getting an extra half a puck in your back pocket to make it work. So let's go on to game number 2 in the Seattle Kraken and the New York Rangers. Not an incredibly lot for me to talk about with you guys in this game here, other than this fucking Rangers team only has 5 wins on the season. 15 losses, 5 wins. That's how you got to start approaching this game. Now, you want to be the contrarian to say, I guess we're going to try to start to figure out when this team wants to play better at home. Not me. And I get a plus money opportunity to take a shot with it. I mean, that's, Rangers team comes into this one 1-6 in their last 7 games. They ain't playing well. They just got nuked. Absolutely nuked by a team we might have to start looking at a little more closely, is the Boston Bruins. If you saw what Boston did yesterday, 1-0 shutout to Pittsburgh, big W for them, back at home, starting to get the groove going on out there, and that 10-2 beatdown at Boston. There is no place to hide for this New York Rangers team right now, and I think that is problematic over the long haul, especially if you're going to give me a nice little, you're going to lay -142. Maybe it's the right side. Maybe you end up winning. This team is off of back-to-back losses, but let's not forget what they did before that. 8-1 over a 9-game stretch were the Seattle Kraken. Didn't matter if they were home or they were away. That aforementioned Boston Bruins team that put the boot to ass on the New York Rangers, well, they handled them 7-4. It was a bad schedule spot for the Rangers before we saw this Kraken team go out on the road. But look, their first road game, 3-2 loss. Competitive game that was at Carolina, the under capital of the East Coast. And an incredibly hard-fighting -2-1 type of team out there. Minnesota Wild, Winnesota. The Wall of St. Paul, 3-2 game there as well. So this Kraken team can battle. And you're giving me a 5-win Rangers team at home with a plus tag around the Seattle Kraken side of things? Yeah, I'm taking it. Because I know over the long haul, these are going to pay out more than they're not. Now, if you want to look at some goaltenders, we can talk about them. By the way, it was Johansson on the other side for the Tampa Bay Lightning. But, listen, Philip Grubauer, Jonathan Quick. 2.27 goals against for Grubauer, 2.78 for Jonathan Quick. Kind of gives us a nice little positive alignment. Quick's last start, 6 goals on 20 shots in that Boston game. I'm sorry. Yeah. And this is where you got to be. I've talked to you guys about this before. Some things you have to look for when it comes to scheduling. Not just scheduling of the game, but look at who they're putting in there in goal and then ask yourself why. Quick goes out there and he gets blasted for 6 goals against that Boston game. Why? Because Igor Shesterkin's hurt. So they got nobody left. That tells you this team shouldn't be playing offensive-oriented puck. They should be focused on their goal. They should be focused on keeping the puck out of their zone. Slow, methodical, stymie them under type of games out there. And if they don't, then they're going to see what happens. You're going to take a goalie like Jonathan Quick. You're just going to destroy him the rest of the season. And you got Grubauer on the other side of things. That's 8-3-2 overall. He's 4-0-1 in his last 5 games. In fact, 2.27 on the season, goals against average, 1.45 in recent form. So you got to like that there. I think this is a great sign for the Seattle Kraken as far as a goaltender for the future. I think this guy is certainly capable of going out there and managing a mediocre squad here that's 5-11-4 on their home ice. And that's why we're going to jump in on the Seattle Kraken here this evening. Plus 117. What do you guys have to say about that? Redbridge is 65 degrees here in Florida, and he's freezing. Well, it's 32 degrees here in New York, and it's not so bad. It's been windy. I think that's been affecting my internet usage here. Nicholas Sandy says, I got a story. What kind of story you got? What kind of story you got? Man, started talking about Tupac. I can hear a little Biggie. Got a story to tell you. Ding, ding. Oh, I can hear it in back. I'm going to have to listen to that. I'm going to have to fire myself up after this show with that one. Pick Betts says he'll be back for NFL talk. JPZ says he parlayed Wild and Avs. Don't want to take shots. I want to cash. Why not? Why not? Why not? I'm not so sure about that Minnesota position. I'm okay with it. I take a shot. Let's go. What do we got? One game left here in the NHL. The Oilers and the Chicago Blackhawks. Surprised by this Chicago Blackhawks squad. Continuing to find a way to get her done. And Connor Bedard is back. So you got to like what's going on. They're bringing in Spencer Knight. Oh, holy night. This guy's got that 2.61 ERA. Other side of things, Connor Ingram. Why Connor Ingram? Well, they really don't have anybody else performing. The other side of things. We talked about the trade from the Devil or from the Penguins and the injury that ensued. And now they're going to go back. This guy's inconsistent. And a Blackhawks team that has points in 6 of their last 7. They're 5-1-1. Oilers 2-0-1. So right off the gate, you got 2 teams that want to battle. Two teams that are showing they're just not going to concede. They're not just going to wave the white flag. And because of that, you got to expect this thing to be what I think has got some high firepower, some octane in these offenses to go out there and fire the puck around this thing. I like the over in this game. There's a big 9-1 trend in this spot for the Blackhawks over. So they should push pace. And the thing about the Blackhawks, not a bad side to consider taking a play on the Blackhawks for a couple of reasons. But the biggest one here, you got an Edmonton team that, McDavid, Draisaitl, they're playing great. McDavid's got points in 4 consecutive games. So that line is humming. His team is humming. But the Blackhawks have the 4th best penalty kill in the league. I mean, listen, that might not be an anomaly at this point of the season. And you're sitting at a plus 138 on these guys. I opted to take the over. I opted for goals in this game. I could see this being a tricky, stingy little spot that Chicago ends up getting on top of. Now, I stayed off of the Blackhawks and just wanted to get into the goal business just because of kind of the way this road trip is or this home road situation has gone. Blackhawks are win one, lose one, win one, lose one right now. They had a weird scheduling spot too. So they had 3 straight home games. They had that one little roadie against Nashville and they shut them out 3-0. So second leg of a back-to-back, that did concern me a little bit when it came to this side and the squad. So I opted for the total. I think it's a really great spot for us to see points. And I do think that, look, this is where you could take a shot, Jay Peasy. It's just as good a chance as anything else. Edmonton's 2-3 in their last 5 games. They just came off a shootout loss. So you're catching a team. Now they do have a day's rest built in there, but 3 home games, on the road for 1. Go back home, back on the road. So it is a little tiring spot. And that's where I think the defense wears down in this game here. I don't think they come out to play. I think the offense this is like a skate and shoot. This is like a men's league game where it's like, let's just see who can get 10 goals first. So we'll take a shot with the over in that game. Let's see what you guys have to say. Irish Kings got Tampa Bay same game parlay. Got a story to tell. Wasn't that about Anthony Mason? JP says, damn it. Redbeard. Bill Siegfried says, I'm guessing Mike likes Pittsburgh. Irish King says, Pittsburgh money line at home is money. No need to come back. Here it is. We'll keep him here for the rest of the show. Let's go. Irish King spoken. Nice pick. No brainer. Irish King is money, says Nicholas Handy. Jay Peasy says over. LFG. I figured you'd like that. Jay Peasy. Square motherfucker. Motherfucker. I'm just kidding. All right, let's go. Let's do some NBA talk. Keep this show on the tracks. Boy, feel like I had a tough NBA weekend. And honestly, it was so tough that I just kind of, I don't really want to play the NBA. But I found some spots that I thought, okay, I'm not trying to have a bad attitude about the NBA. I'm just tired of the product. And then you see games like the other day. Fucking lose by a 50-pack, man? How are you going to go out there and lose by 55 points to the Charlotte Hornets, the Utah Jazz? What in the absolute fuck were you doing right there? And, you look at it. Look at their schedule. I mean, it's a tough schedule, for sure. Clippers. I mean, they had a game against the Celtics. I don't consider it. We know the Celtics are soft. Clippers, Warriors, Blazers, Thunder. They had Dallas at home. And Dallas, the entire planet was on Dallas the other day was that Chicago? And they just fucking dudded it up themselves. So you beat another team that's kind of steeped in mediocrity, only to go out there and get throttled at home. Absolutely throttled. Remember that score in the first? Remember we were live betting it? And I was like, if you got to take 24.5 points. Then it got to 34.5. And I was like, you got to take 34.5 points. No, you didn't. You laid 34.5. That team got busted the fuck up. 45-14 in the first quarter. 32-24 in the second quarter. Oh my God. But after an OMG moment, we have an opportunity here. And that's where I want to take advantage, because right now, this Jazz team, as bad as they are, they're playing one of the worst in the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that opportunity is, I don't want to say buy low, because the Jazz are low right now, 1-4 in their last 5, but they did come off of getting spanked. And so immediate reaction has to be fade them. And so for Vegas to try to get some action on these guys, well, they got to overinflate the line. So you are buying low. And then the Cavaliers, one of the shittiest teams in the league, they just won 146, 134. So you are selling high. And if you guys believe it or not in that philosophy, 467 and 335 over an 800 game sample. So we're not coming in there just grasping at straws. I mean, if you can find an edge that wins at 58.25%, you got to give it some merit, right? And then there's a bunch of variations and iterations that you can put on that thing. But if you fade the Cavs after a win, in other words, if you sell high on the Cavs, you're 20-6. And a dog after a blowout loss, 80-49. So it just kind of tells you that story about how the books do overcorrect in these situations. And because of that, we're finding 58-62% winning edges. In fact, a Monday night trend out there with the dog on the road dog Mondays, 21-8. There's another strong little 72.5er. Just a lot of incentive. Now, it's ugly if you look at that last game. I get it. It's not for the faint of heart, but neither is gambling. And if it was easy, everybody would do it. So I think this is one of those situations where we got to take a shot and say, you know what? Market perception couldn't be any worse. 63% of the bets and 67% of the cash are on the Cavaliers. And it's coming down on top of that. Because the books know they put too many points on it. It's too many points for the Jazz against two mediocre teams. I like the under as well at 250.5, 62% of the bets and 69% of the cash came in on the under. It's actually my first cut play. Almost became one of the free plays of the day for IG today, was the under in that game at 250.5. But neither team plays defense. So there is that possibility that this game shoots over the number. Thoughts that I had about that game. I'll take the 13.5 in my back pocket, and it stinks. It's got a stink to it. We just got to close our nose, make the bet, and move on and hope it cashes. That's all we can do with a bad spot like that. JP says, based on my NFL record this weekend, the Texans win. Oh, no. Two Kansas, I was telling you not to take it at 22.5 because it was going to go up. Then I took it at 40.5 and lost it too. The Jazz is bad, man. Mr. Wesker says NBA is a hell of a drug. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. All right, guys, let's go next game here. The Sixers and the Raptors. I told you, we got some of them spots tonight. We got that spot with the previous Philadelphia team in the Philadelphia Flyers. We get it tonight with the 76ers. And what I like most is I heard somebody breaking it down, trying to get in the way of this trend. And it's like, I know my guy Shark and I talked about this with the 70%er and it's not that you don't use it all and say they're due, right? But when you have a 10 or 15 year sample, 20 year sample showing you what happens, and it's happening at a 70% rate, there's a high probability that's going to smash and cash. Not all the time. And in fact, a lot of unders. Unders were hitting at a huge crushing rate for the wild card weekends. But where I could dismiss the unders and why they weren't obviously the last game did and the Eagles game did, but not the first three, is because the league has become a passing league. And if you look at those quarterbacks in those games, minus the two games with wind, they all sailed over the number, right? Well, I guess it depends on what you had with that Bills game. Some guys had 51, some guys had 51.5. So Fernando Mendoza says, if you like the total under, why not Jazz team total under one? Well, because I want the Jazz to win. I think the wrong team's favored. And usually for me, when I come to it's a good question. I cut the inside of my ear on something, so I keep fucking with it. Burns. I think it's, for me, if I like the side and I like the total and I hybrid them out and come up with the game prop under, I end up losing. It's like it makes too much sense. It's too easy. And if it's too easy, it ain't easy. It ain't easy being cheesy, that's for sure. So in any event, the Sixers will go into, that's just me. That's just my history. That's me looking back at where do I win and where do I lose? I analyze all the bets I make. I sit around after they're done. I look at what happened, what trend did I like, which ones do I, star them, keep them moving in the right direction, highlight, look for them the next time type of stuff. And then I assess the ones that just blew up in my face. It's like, all right, if this one blew up in my face, I don't know if I want to get back to it. But the one that I like very, very, very much, it's the immediate bounce back revenge, the duplex spot as they've become. And I gave you guys the trends on those, cashing at a huge rate. So to sit there and think, well, the Sixers aren't good as a favorite, or the Sixers line this or that, I don't know. To think that the Sixers shouldn't come out here and fire on these boys and the Raptors, why? Why are the Raptors going to go out there and beat them up? Ingram's questionable. Everybody else is playing, so they're healthy. I get it. But Oubre's probable. Grimes is probable. Watford's probable. Barlow's probable. Edgecombe's probable. And the line was 1.5 the other day. It's 3.5 today. So even though they lost, they're adding more points to it because they're telling you in this duplex spot, the Sixers are going to smash. And I love it. We talked about this trend was a 75% rate. Nobody in between, same team, no travel, practicing on the same sight lines. If you were the road favorite and you lost, you go back and you win at almost 100% clip. So put all your X's and O's aside. This is the duplex spot. This is the play that we're going to take advantage of here and see if we can't come home. -3s, -3.5s, 6 and 1.5 a dozen on the other. Now, I kind of foreshadowed this game here with the Nets and the Mavericks. This one opened up at 3.5. It's moved to 4.5. 45% of the bets and 51% of the cash have come in on the Brooklyn Nets. The line has moved against you. Both teams are ugly. Both teams are horrible. I think this is that spot where you have to jump in on the Mavericks and say, yeah, let's give them a go. I first looked at it and I kind of liked the Nets. And then I thought to myself, what are you doing here? This one makes a ton of sense because the ultimate letdown performance that the Mavericks just had at Chicago against the Bulls, 125-107. They were 4.5-point dogs. And everybody liked these guys to go out there and fire away. And self-included. I thought it was a great profile match because the Bulls are just so bad. But the one thing the Mavericks have going for them is they are at home. They tend to play better at home. If they're coming off a spread loss, they're 91-40 against the spread in those follow-up positions. So there is a tremendous reason to think that these guys can bounce back. And listen, the best part of all, if you put them between the fives against a non-conference opponent, they've won 18 in a row. They're 18-0. They've won 18 in a row. It's a Mavs spot for me. Mavs are bust. I don't think we bust. I think we cash and smash this spot here with this Dallas Mavs, especially coming off a shit game the other night, because everybody that bet him the other night is going to go, not me, no sir, not interested, no way, wouldn't take it if I could. Not recognizing that there's an 18-0 trend on the line here for the Mavericks. And if they did smash them, that trend probably wouldn't be active because they would be outside of the fives in that case. So we'll take a shot with the Dallas Mavericks, and we'll close up shop in the NBA talking about the Lakers and Sacramento Kings. I try to share with you guys my angles, my trends, my thought process around some of these scheduling spots, trends, and angles that have been kicking around and cashing for us. I like to bring the big ones to the table for you guys, like an 18-in-a-row spot here. But this Lakers one might just be as simple as they're just coming off of 2 bad games. I mean, shit. I talked about single-handedly the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, and I think the Mavericks were 3 spots where I was fading the Lakers because I thought, nah, they're kind of banged up. Brewy wasn't making shots the way he was, and LeBron's questionable. And team's off of back-to-back losses. Spread losses too, at Spurs and then home against the Bucks. Bucks, that's an enigma. 3.5 points. I don't know. Don't make a lot of sense to me. And then what are the Lakers doing at plus 8.5 at the Spurs? Well, is it because the Spurs are going to end up winning the NBA championship? Probably. We know what happens with the team that's the runner-up in the NBA Cup. Go back and do your history. Sabonis is out still. LeBron's been upgraded to probable. I do like him better when he's not in the lineup here, but for all intent and purpose here, back-to-back losses. Give me the Lakers to bounce back. They're and it's a 9. So they're telling me this is a Kings team that just caught a win, surprisingly. Just caught a case. Just got a case of the dubs against the Rockets. Now, they're 14.5 point dogs. So when I say to you guys, the Utah Jazz, wrong team favorite, and you're looking at it saying 13.5, he's crazy. Listen, these big double-digit teams just can't seem a way to follow it up and come through to meet and exceed expectations. And if you're sitting there as a Lakers backer, well, you know, when they play against interconference teams that are on third game and 4 night, there's that key component that we try to find a little piece of something in each of these games when it exists. 2 days or more rest versus an intra-conference dog on 3 games and 4 nights. 9-1 in its last 10 spots out there, facing the back-to-back bad beats. Give me the Lakers. Give me the -9. Give me him taking advantage of a rest advantage advantage of the advantage. They haven't played since the 9th. Sacramento's on the second leg of a back-to-back and at 3 games in 4 nights. Let's fire on the Lakers. Let's lay that 9. And let's move into college hoops. I got just 2 games for you in college hoops. I'll keep it fast. Early action too as well. Southern pops off against Bethune-Cookman. SWAC play out there where we've seen Bethune-Cookman kind of get this thing started, getting the party started in the right direction when it comes to their SWAC performance, the way that they have put the bus in gear. But where did my shit? Sorry, guys. Lost my note. Where'd my note go? NCAA teams. Low scoring NCAA teams tell you on Mondays in sleepy little spots like such, home favorites find a way to just go out there and dominate. They are 38-10 in their last almost 50 spots. Telling you Bethune-Cookman, when they're playing against an unranked team, Bethune-Cookman are 23-14. Now, they're just 5-5 in their last 10 in that sample, but at home, starting strong in division, Southern limping around, limp dicking around on everybody, SWAC unders. I don't think we can see a Southern team put enough points up to compete with this Bethune-Cookman spot. So I laid the 4.5 on Bethune. Oh, nice. Nice. Information coming in. Coming in, boys and girls. Getting ready for this big NFL game here this evening. And then the last game I'm going to go to in college hoops for you guys, just a smattering. Like I said, I didn't really love this card. Sometimes we will pop, and kind of been going 50-50 in college hoops as of late. So I'm not really, funny because just like 2 weeks ago, I had like a 10-0 run. And I was fucking, we're 10-0 in our last 10. I was that asshole. And guess what happens? Yeah. We're no longer 10-0 in our last 10. So, that being said, though, hey, man, obscure games, that's where we have found a way to excel. Also, one more spot that I did look at that didn't make the cut that just dawned on me is the under in that Lamar game here. But fading the SWAC against non-conference opponents have been profitable. And, that's, I think, why we've seen Grambling come out there and get it going. I looked at this one and said, you give me Florida, not often that some of these mediocre schools come into this situation, but I think what happens is when you take the rest for a team like Florida A&M, like they got to get into a rhythm, right? They're not playing ball enough. They're studying how to fucking read mineral tablets and, lay irrigation pipes in fields. They're not studying and looking to go out there and practice their 3-pointers and layups. So when you get them out of the biology lab and you stick them out there on the court, it takes them a few days. And when you put Florida A&M on 1 day's rest, you found a little enigma, a little 36-18 opportunity. If they're a small favorite to a dog and they won, they're 39-17. When them boys do heat up, they stay heated. They stay hot. And that's for the reason I'm going to take this Florida A&M. Like I said, I don't love the hoops card tonight, so I didn't want to force it. In fact, I don't think I even gave out anything on winnable to college hoops tonight. I'll have to go look. So those are premiums. Freemiums. As it rolls out there, DJ Hardy says, boots to ass. Mr. Westcoast never sees the Mormons get beat that badly. Blake says he'll take the Sixers game over 219.5. Nessie Day picks the Celtics second quarter. All right. Listen. You listen here. You listen here. This Steelers team, step back from what you know. We know Tomlin. He doesn't make changes in the offense. We know Tomlin was a put his finger in your fucking chest and tell you to go back and hit the playbook. What did they do this year? They brought in everybody older than 33 years old. So Tomlin can't get Aaron Rodgers' face, grab him by the face mask, and call him a worthless pile of pig shit, right? That's not going to fly. Tomlin will find himself out on his ass. So he's driving the boat, but it's really on autopilot. And he's got these guys, these elder statesmen that recognize they're 3 games away from winning a championship. And how many more times will they be there in the rest of their lives? So Tomlin being a statue and not making adjustments like I laughed about earlier in the season, it's a non-factor for me. Houston Texans. CJ Stroud's had 2 playoff games. He's had 2 playoff losses. So he has experience, and this would be the time that we see these guys tend to make the leap, the step forward. 52% of the bets, 54% of the cash have come in on the Steelers. It opened at -3. It really hasn't moved. Totals come down a point. 39.5. So there's actually some 38s out there. 70% of the bets, 61% of the cash on the over in this game. And I think you have to acknowledge the fact that, now listen, the Texans got healthy at the right time. There's something to be said for that when you start looking at some of these teams and you see these guys coming back into the roster. Got to respect it. They got some boys. They got Chubb. Just looking back. I mean, Woody Marks has been an incredible testament to stepping in and filling a void and becoming kind of that go-to guy. And that does create some ground game for these guys. The problem is you got CJ Stroud and he's got to pass the ball. Now he's been able to do it, but these guys have been, they kind of feel a little bit like the San Francisco, like a smaller version, like a stepbrother version of the San Francisco 49ers, because they've been catching dubs. They even did it in the absence when CJ Stroud was hurt. So, yeah, if you want to play the narrative for the other side, Texans are healthy. They got healthy at the right time. I'm just not going to overlook the Steelers right now because, look, they just had a big game out there, win to stay in against the Baltimore Ravens. Hell of a comeback in that game. They lost to Cleveland. I told everyone they were going to lose to Cleveland. They beat the Lions. They beat Miami. They beat Baltimore before that. And they're scoring points. They're getting over their team total. So you really want to fuck with Aaron Rodgers right now when he's potentially got 1 or 2 more shots left? Really? I'm not saying he's the savior. But he might be what Pittsburgh needs to get over this little playoff lull out there. Now, it sets up for a Texans money line, Steelers cover. I've said this before. Wild card teams against the Steelers have gone 7-1 on the money line. Shout out to Parma Jake. Pittsburgh's 0-4 as home dogs in playoffs all time. Home dogs. 70% winners. Tomlin is a short home favorite to a dog, 34-16-4 in his coaching career. And Steelers, after being a dog with a low total, are 16-0 against the spread in those spots. So, you know what's funny? I was just looking at my notes because I talked about this at halftime of that Green Bay Packers game. Maybe I jinxed them because I talked about it during the live show and I said 7 seeds are 1-10 straight up in their last 11. And this when the Packers were blowing them out. They're now 1-11. Steelers, being a dog, low total, 16-0. How are you going to fight with some of these trends? Why would you want to? It's not like, when they play. Remember how the trend game has evolved? Remember just a couple years ago when people were making fun of it because they were like, I pulled up when teams are in the West Coast travel east, they lose. Well, that turned out not to be true. It's actually the other way around. AFC teams versus NFC teams. This is what they do. All right. Well, it's pretty vanilla, but okay. There's some merit to it. But now we start putting in some of these filters and cycles around putting the total, and when Vegas sees where the total is, and you put it with the side and where Vegas sees the side, and you see a correlation, and it shows you tricks like 16-0 trends. You don't get in the way of that. Might not be the right pick. It's going to be my pick. It's going to be Steelers +3. I'm going to get that money line as well. I'm going to hope for the Steelers to come out there and fire away this evening. And speaking of this evening, we're going to be live at 7:45. So you guys get yourselves ready. Get set. We're going to go see if we can't get these bookies and start this betting week off with a big bang. Good luck to everybody. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Talk about the same thing. Sports. Talk about angles. Talk about trends. See what can be our friend and try to get us paid out there. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on